How do you use arrays with methods? Good question. I'm glad you asked. Where's my array methods? There we go. So remember, an array is a single variable. So far, so good?
Good.
Well, an array is being passed into this print array method, which is not a built-in method. That's one we created. So we zip down here. There it is. A method inside of a class does not have to be public unless you want to have another class access it. In this case, we're only going to access it from here. Okay, so when we get in here, we're passing in the array. Remember when we did this in Python, we don't have to initialize variables. This is a different variable. Because when you pass the value, and that's what we're doing, we're passing by value. We're passing the value of this array, the information that's stored in it. We have to have an array on this end to catch it. And we can name it A, we can name it whatever we wanted. I just called it A for this one. So we can print out that passed array. And then we can print it out with commas. And then we can finish it up. And then we come back to here. And we printed it out, and we can print it again and again and again using that. And it looks beautiful.
So the main then, does that mean we're technically passing a string or an array of arguments?
We're passing the values of the array. Because an argument would mean,
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
it's being
I mean,
the array.
because you
Yeah.
were talking about the string brackets earlier, the arguments, that's an array up there.
Yes, it's a string array, and args means that you can pass as many arguments to it as you want. But that's really used by the Java compiler to do things.
Okay.
In this case, we're passing the array as a value. All of the value that's in that array, the values that are in that array get passed to here. This is a little different. This is what the program needs to, yeah, basically the compiler uses it. And then if you print the object directly, you get the memory address. Not useful. There is also an arrays method that changes the array to a string, and it automatically passes the array and prints it out beautifully. There. Well, maybe it isn't beautiful. What do you think? Yeah, they're all different. Here's the memory address. That's a hexadecimal. That's how we make it easier than doing binary. If we had to put this as a binary address, it'd be like way off the edge of my screen because we'd have all zeros and ones. This is how you print it with the array method, class method. And then the next one is we are copying an array. You can't assign one array to another. You have to copy the values into another array. So I created an array here called C, and I have an array A. So I make a copy of this into here. Now C and A are different. They're different memory addresses, different objects. They both have the same values. So the copy of copies the values. You can't assign an array to another array, which you'd be assigning as the memory address. It'd be the same array with two different things pointing to it. And then we can go through and print it and see that, yes, indeed, it has the same values. And, oh, we can search. So I'm looking for 2.0. That's my target. And I can find it. And what else do we have? Oh, there's my method. Oh, here's a search method. Whoa. How about that? What do you think? Look at this. We're bringing in the array, our target array. We're searching through. We're saying, this is the number we're looking for. We iterate through our array. If the value here equals the target, we return, and we return that value. -1 means we didn't find it. So this is a very simple search. It just goes right on through and tries everyone until it finds the right result, or it doesn't find the right result. So this is again one that we made. And because we're only using it inside this class, we don't need public. You can put public in, it won't make any difference. So again, this is another method that we made. We're bringing in a copy of the array, the values of the array. We're going to do a running total and then return that total. And that's why we have double sum. That's why we have int search. That's returning the value. We have to declare the value that's coming back. This is void, meaning we're just doing something. We're not returning a value. Poof. A lot of thinking here, isn't there? Man. A lot more thinking than doing, but that's what we want to understand in computer science, is understand how this is working. Because like your next class that you take after Computer Science 1 is probably going to be data structures, which is what we're working with. But in this case, you create your own data structures and understand how they actually work in memory. We are learning how to use them, which is your first step. Learn how to use them. What's next? Random numbers? Oh, yeah. There we go. That's how you make random numbers. We have a random util. There it is. There's our random array method. So let me stop for a second. We'll do that as a separate